Hey there, Noble! Mr. Wilbur here. It is Wednesday, May 20th, and here we are again with your morning announcements. Gonna do something we haven't done in a while. We're gonna do some hot tips and some hot takes. Your first hot tip. Every morning, put some powder in your socks. I swear, it'll change your life. It feels good. Feels good. I'm talking to you, my Chippewa boot-wearing friends. Feels good. Hot take. The boxed macaroni and cheese not only tastes different than Easy Mac, it tastes better. Let's examine the evidence, shall we? The instructions on Easy Mac are simple. Add water, microwave it, then add the powder. Then you have mac and cheese. However, the instructions on the original blue box mac and cheese say boil the noodles in water, then add the powder and milk and butter. Milk and butter are not present in the Easy Mac recipe. That means one of two things is happening. One, Easy Mac and the box stuff use the exact same powder. It's just the cheesy slurry in Easy Mac is inferior because it's lacking milk and it's lacking butter. Therefore, not as good. Or, the other possibility, the two packets are different and the Easy Mac powder contains some sort of dehydrated milk and dehydrated butter which reconstitutes in the water. Again, I would argue not as good. And I can taste the difference. You need a refined palate. Also, if you want to elevate your mac and cheese, add a can of tuna and as much sriracha as you dare. Spicy tuna mac and cheese. Hot tip. This one actually kind of makes me sad because I'm not sure when it's going to be applicable again. But when you go to a live concert, wear earplugs, for crying out loud. You're not proving anything when you don't wear them. And whenever you get that that ringing in your ear, that is called tinnitus, and it is a sign of damage. Damage your ears enough, you eventually lose hearing. Usually at different frequencies, so you're gonna spend a large portion of your life with music sounding all whack. And eventually, you don't hear it at all. I went to my first live concert when I was 13 years old. I wore earplugs then, and I've worn earplugs at every single concert I've been to ever since. That first concert, by the way, was Korn. And finally, hot take. Now that Disney, and therefore Marvel Studios, have regained the rights to the X-Men should not join the MCU. Oof, that one hurts just saying it. But I stand by it. A little context first. I've been reading comic books since basically I've been able to read. And my first love when it comes to comic books was the X-Men. I love the X-Men. Now don't get me wrong, I am pumped that Marvel Studios has regained the rights to the X-Men. The X-Men movies produced by Fox, even though some of them have been pretty good, have largely been a disappointment. And everything that the MCU has done has been incredible. So I love the idea of Kevin Feige and the gang having the ability to start over with the X-Men and do them right. But if you ask me, even in the comic books, the X-Men have never made much sense when combined with the greater Marvel Universe. The X-Men, a group of superheroes who have all had their powers since birth due to the fact that they are just born mutants, instead of gaining their powers with a radioactive accident, being bitten by a radioactive spider, or being zapped by cosmic rays. And in the comics and films, mutants have always been an analog for any classically disenfranchised group. Hatred of mutant kind could easily be an analogy of racism, of sexism, of homophobia, transphobia, any classically disenfranchised group. So therefore, it's always been a little strange that mankind has hated mutants and wanted them wiped off the face of the earth, but are strangely okay with the Avengers. Seems strange that your standard racist analog would draw a distinction between someone born with powers and then someone like Spider-Man who just got them. Or someone like Black Panther who got them by drinking magic flower juice. And also, the X-Men universe is huge. There's 1 billion X-Men teams. I would argue that if you took the size of the entire Marvel universe, half of it is the X-Men and the other half is everything else. So if it were up to me, Marvel Studios and the geniuses behind it would start an X-Men universe that doesn't necessarily interact with our greater MCU. As a comic book fan, it seems strange even saying it. And they're also definitely not going to do that. But it makes me wonder, we've been watching these movies for over 10 years. If you want to introduce the X-Men, that means you're introducing the idea of mutants. During all these movies, has the world just been full of mutants and they've been able to just lay low? Also, Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch are Magneto's kids. Are they going to talk about that? But as I said, Kevin Feige and the gang are geniuses. I'm sure it's going to be awesome. All right, and now I believe it's time for our Word of the Day, brought to you by Mr. Parr, as well as His Highness King Buford.
This is King Buford here again with the Word of the Day. This week's words all relate to royalty, because I am a king. I am royalty. This word of the day for today is eminence. Eminence means recognized superiority, usually in a particular area. Some people think I have eminence, but not because I'm a king. I'm a pretty good bowler too. Eminence. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you, Your Majesty. And now it's time for This Day in History, brought to you by Mrs. Perkins. On this day in 1873, Levi Strauss and Jacob W. Davis patented copper riveted jeans, designed to help prevent tears in the fabric and basically creating the exact pair of pants that everyone has worn ever since. In 1916, the Saturday Evening Post published its first cover with a Norman Rockwell painting, Boy with Baby Carriage. In 1927, U.S. aviator Charles A. Lindbergh took off from Roosevelt Field in Long Island, New York, on the world's first solo non-stop flight across the Atlantic Ocean, New York to Paris. And on this day in 1996, NBC's The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air series came to an end. I actually watched that on TV. Was that really 96? I'm getting old, everybody. Getting old. And now it's time for our pet of the day. But first, a quick shout out to Allison Milliard of our 9th grade Gray team. She was the first person to send me an email with the correct answer to the mystery of what is the theme behind Mr. Lounsbury's dogs' names. Mr. Lounsbury's dogs were named Scout, Radley, and Harper. The correct answer was all those names have to do with Harper Lee's famous novel, To Kill a Mockingbird. Allison, I'm not 100% sure what the prize is. We shall both consult with Mr. Lounsbury. But today's staff pet of the day goes to Mr. Jones. This is his dog, Gilmore. That's my favorite part of this video. And now, our student pet of the day goes to Alexis Jagger. This is Tigger. He is a weird cat that can fit in stuff not his size and get stuck. What are we looking at here? Is that a case of water bottles? What is that phrase they say about cats? If it fits, it sits. I love it. Thanks for sending that in, Alexis. And that does it for today. So at this point, please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Have yourselves a great day. And remember, stay noble, knights.